Okay, Dreams of an Insomniac is something I've been asked to watch multiple times, and I will be doing that. Remember, support the original creator, and that's kind of it. Let's get into this. Warning: this video contains flashing lights, graphic depictions of violence, and loud noises and jump scares, which means everything you're seeing in this video is fake. I don't know why I did it like that. I'm losing my voice, so if I slowly start dissipating and dying, that's why.
My name is Alex Williams. I live on 66 Elk Crescent, Eastridge County, and up until this point, I've worked for the Lankman Foundation, a job which I have quickly come to regret. This is my story.
That's interesting. That's a unique start, too, because normally it's kind of just some, fuck shit to pull you in, but that's an interesting start. I haven't seen one start like that before. I don't know what this classifies as.
I began my work for the foundation pretty much the day it was founded. After what happened on Halloween, I was put under 24/7 witness protection. They told me that the information I had was too valuable. It felt like I was under constant house arrest. There wasn't a day that they weren't watching me, and it went on like that for years. They gave me my job at the foundation as a form of protection. A bunch of guys in suits showed up to my house and told me that it would be for the better if I took a job at their new facility. I didn't know much about them at the time. Nobody did, really. All they told me was that they were helping Veldigan victims, but even that felt vague.
Veldigan is interesting. They said foundation, so I'm thinking of an SCP type thing. The Lackman Foundation. Is that supposed to... It looks like it's supposed to be a hat on him. So clearly this has to do with whatever entity he saw.
You don't know me, but I certainly know you. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Lankman. Or at least a cartoon version of the man himself, created by our lovely in-house animator, Mortimer Gray, who you may know for his work on the classic cartoon series Candy Mouse. I come to you all today to announce the founding of the Lankman Foundation, a new gateway into the future of Eastridge County. 4 years ago, our lovely town was plagued by a species of creature we have come to know as the Veldigan. These dangerous creatures have continued to threaten our residents, with there being seemingly no end to the dangers they pose.
So that's supposed to be like a
Until now, our lovely founder, Herbert Lankman, created our foundation for the purpose of both containing this anomalous threat, as well as treating all those who have been affected by them. How does he plan to do this, you ask? Well, the answer is quite simple. Using the inheritance left behind by his father, Herbert Lankman got to work renovating and reopening the old Lankman's Asylum, repurposing it into a massive treatment center for all those who have fallen victim to the Veldigan. As well as this, he has been hard at work donating generous amounts to Eastridge County's police force, ensuring they can continue to do what they do best, protecting all of you. Here at the Lankman Foundation, we know these last couple of years have been scary, but don't worry. Soon enough, this will all be a thing of the past. If you or anyone you may know have any questions regarding the Foundation and what we do, do not hesitate to give us a call.
It clearly seems like someone's calling. I don't think they are. So far, they said treatment, like it's a disease, or as if there's an infection you can be treated. On the night of April 6th, 1990, this phone call was made to East County Ridge Police Department. This tape acts as the only archive of this call. All other records act to be propaganda.
Eastridge 911, where is your emergency? is 45 Elk Crescent. Send the police, please!
Can you describe the situation to me, ma'am?
There's a group of men trying to break into my house. They're slamming on the door. Please send the police now!
The police will be on their way in a moment, ma'am. I just need you to breathe. Did you get a good look at these men? What did they look like?
I don't know what they look like. They're all wearing masks. I can't see their faces. They look all the same.
So
what
is
kind
this
of
when the
masks,
disease
ma'am?
started to happen?
Yellow ones?
Yeah.
They're wearing yellow masks. Do they look like bandages?
Yeah, so this is when the outbreak happened in April 6, 1999.
Hello?
I'm assuming...
Hello? Is anybody there?
Oh, they hung up on her. So, it clearly seems like the police know what's happening. And it seems like this is when these creatures started to break out. Or, I'm assuming break out of the control of the police, or are no longer under the control of the police, because it seems clearly like they know what they are. And they did call these, like, they started with a beating. The Vardigans, I believe they called them. And then, knowing that the fact
After
that
I
they
started working at the Foundation, they immediately bombarded me and everyone else with all these different mandates and training tapes. Even for the most simple of jobs, there were rules for everything, and half the time they didn't even make sense. Perhaps the strangest mandate they had us commit to, though, was to wear these goggles at all times. They said it was a preventative measure to avoid the effects of some kind of hallucinatory environment. None of us knew what that was or how it was even possible. All they told us was that it would make you see and hear things, and that it was apparently used to keep patients in line. Something about treatment through exposure. We never really knew for sure if it was working, but all the patients seemed to suffer from similar symptoms that were said to be a part of it. They were always scared of us, no matter how much we tried to help them, and they always complained about hearing some kind of horrible music somewhere in the facility. What got to me the most about it, though, was how normal everyone treated it. Something beyond our understanding was being used on these people, and nobody seemed bothered by it but me. They all just treated it like it wasn't even happening.
Here in the Lankman Asylum, it is imperative for all staff members to be aware of our state-of-the-art hallucinatory environment. Through this unique environment, we are able to keep all patients within our walls in line, as well as treat their conditions through exposure that no other location can provide.
Were they fucking
The
with
amount
these
of
people?
benefits
Because it
this
seems
new
like they're
technology
fucking
can
with these
provide for the
people.
patients of our asylum is numerous, but you must remember that there are multiple precautions which have been put in place to ensure that you, our staff, do not suffer from the effects of our hallucinatory environment and can do your job correctly and safely. The first of these precautions should have been provided to you on your first day at the job,
They're red
in the form
tinted.
of these specialized optical lenses. By wearing these red lenses,
be the background.
staff members
I
will
don't
be
know.
able to see past the environment's effects, allowing for no mistakes to be made and a job well done. If at any point these lenses are to be removed, staff members will experience severe hallucinations, which will make your work extremely difficult.
Okay, so let's talk about those. So they are red glasses, and the glasses are supposed to block out the hallucinations that include warping the environment around you, entryways and exits appearing/disappearing, seeing people that don't exist. So is this Vardigan's disease just people suffering? Wait, yeah, this disease is like what is it called? Disease. It's an actual real life disease. It's
Staff members will experience severe
What's it called?
hallucinations,
It's called
which
something.
will make your work extremely difficult. The second of these precautions comes in the form of knowing what you should and should not be hearing when on the job. Although we have yet to develop a solution for auditory hallucinations, symptoms of them appear to follow a similar and predictable.
Symptoms of the auditory hallucinations, the voices of people that do not exist, distant, dismembered, disoriented music, the voice of Dr. Lackman, the knocking of doors and windows. So this is exactly what she experienced. I was gonna say psychosis, but it's not psychosis. It's like, schizophrenia. It's schizophrenia. It seems like the Lackman disease is based off of schizophrenia, and it seems And it seems like they're taking that from that, because schizophrenic people then they see a lot of weird things that they know it's not real. A lot of
Predictable
hallucinogens.
pattern. If you believe yourself to be hallucinating, ask yourself if you're hearing the voices of people that do not exist, distant music coming from an unknown location, Dr. Lankman requesting your aid, or the knocking of doors which do not exist. If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then you are hallucinating and should treat those sounds as if they do not exist. Moving on from our patented hallucinatory...
Let's point something out that apparently seeing this thing can cause you to then hallucinate things that aren't there, like voices and music. But wouldn't that normally just affect your senses? It's weird that you'd have to see it first.
experiment. We next must discuss the role of another very important part of our facility. It is imperative that all staff members avoid any form of contact with
The caretakers were possibly the most disturbing part about working in that entire facility. They were these tall, bandaged staff members who were dressed in black from top to bottom. I don't even think I ever saw them outside of their uniform. We were always expressly told never to interact with them for any reason. Apparently their job was just that important. It was with them that I reached my breaking point when working at that damn place. I always saw them going into patients' rooms, taking them to places that I never got to see. I always wondered what they were doing, but I made sure to mind my own business. That is until late one night when I was working at the facility. They had just brought in a new patient, a woman who looked to be in about her 30s. She had no diagnosis, no sign of serious mental illness, and physically she was fine. None of us knew what she was doing there, but like we always did, we just ignored it and minded our own business. That night, though, she starts a ruckus. I think every person in the facility heard it when she started screaming. I was the first one to arrive when I saw what was happening. 4 of those caretakers dragging her out by her arms and legs while she's just kicking and screaming. I couldn't believe what I'd seen. I tried running in to stop them, but one of my coworkers stopped me, looked me in the eyes, and said, "It isn't worth it." I was in disbelief. These caretakers were treating Veldigan victims like caged animals, and here we were just standing there and watching. That was when I knew I had to do something about it. I always had my suspicions about the asylum, but seeing how this treatment facility treated its patients, that was the final straw. I went to as many of my coworkers as I could to try and get as much information as possible about the Foundation and their shady practices.
I'm concerned
I wanted to
about a
bring
couple
these
of things,
problems to the light, to have the general public know what was really going on in there.
Sorry.
But of course, none of them wanted anything to do with me. They just brushed me off and told me that it wasn't worth it, that it would bring more trouble. But I ignored them and I kept trying. When I ran out of staff to talk to, eventually I turned to patients. More specifically, the woman I saw getting attacked that night.
Oh,
I
so she
wanted
did
to
come
know where they took her,
I was
what
gonna
they
say she
did
probably
to her.
died, but she didn't.
So I snuck into her room late that night with a camcorder that I brought, and I was able to record an entire interview I had with her.
Please,
and
let's see it. Let's see it.
I was just left with so many questions.
Because I was thinking the caretakers probably aren't real people, and they're
Please,
probably...
please don't hurt me. I promise I'll behave. I don't want to go back.
Listen, I don't want to hurt you, I promise. I'm just here to ask a few questions is all. I'm sorry about what happened to you the other night. It was horrible. I want to try and make sure that doesn't happen again. And it would help a lot if you could answer my questions.
Okay.
Alright, thank you. Okay, so my first question. Why were you brought here? You didn't have any diagnosis,
Was she
and
the
you don't
person- she
seem to
was the person
suffer
on the
from
phone?
any symptoms of Veldigan sickness.
I don't know why I'm here. These men broke into my house. Nobody came to help me. The doctor told me I'm sick, but I don't know what he means. I'm sorry if that doesn't help.
It's okay, don't worry.
So yeah, she
It helps
was
a
the person
lot.
on the tape.
You're doing great. Now, my next
So then this
question.
foundation existed longer than that.
That night when you were attacked here, I know it must be a lot, and I'm sorry to bring it up, but do you know where they took you?
I don't know. He told me I can't tell anybody. I'm sorry, I can't tell you that. He said he would take me back there. And I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Hey, it's alright. It's alright. You're not going to go back there, I promise. I just need to know where it was.
So clearly
nobody else will know.
non-existent humans or Eldigans aren't eating
They
people.
took me to room 66.
What? No, that's not possible. There's only...
Room 66.
It's him!
Just try
He's going to take me back now! Please! Taking me back!
He isn't going to take
Don't
you
let him
back
take me
there.
back! Don't let him take me back!
Quiet for a moment, don't...
Just what do you think you're doing?
Everything that happened was just a blur after that. Those caretakers came into the room and dragged her out before I could even do anything about it. It was the last time I ever saw her. And then they just sent me back to work as if the whole thing never even happened.
Room 66.
That in itself was odd,
and
but
that guy sounded
it
like
was
Dr.
what she
Lackman.
said to me that stuck out to me the
It
most.
sounded like Dr.
She
Lackman
told
himself.
me that she was taken to a room 66, which didn't make any sense. The asylum was small, it was only built with 65 rooms in mind, so a 66th room shouldn't be possible. At first I thought maybe she was misremembering things, or she was just misspeaking. I mean, she was clearly stressed out, and the way she was taken there was violent, but that just didn't explain things for me. I still didn't know where the patients were being taken, and what if she was telling the truth? I tried to look for answers to that question for a while, and nothing came of it. Nothing until I started to watch through our old conversations. During one of my watch-throughs, I saw something off the corner of my eye. Something I had never seen until it was staring me right in the face. A camera. A camera located right in the corner of that room. The asylum didn't have cameras, at least not in the rooms of its patients. If I had known they were watching me the entire time, I never would have staged that interview, and somehow I didn't see it? Something wasn't adding up. I went back to the asylum after that and checked the rooms of several patients. No cameras. I thought that I was
So she was
losing
somebody
my
that they wanted
mind.
personally.
I thought for a moment that maybe I was just seeing things. But then I realized something. Maybe I was. Late one night when no one else was around, I tested something. Something I was afraid to. I removed those goggles they gave us. And when I opened my eyes, everything looked the exact fucking same. Everything started to make sense after that. Who knows what they could have been hiding that we just couldn't see? Cameras, people, rooms. Suddenly, room 66 was terrifyingly possible, and I was going to find it.
So that's neat. That's
I
a neat
returned to the
concept. I
asylum
like
later
actually.
that night with a camcorder in hand. I figured that if it could show me where the cameras were in the corners of the patients' rooms, then it could help me find what I was looking for. I walked up and down the halls of that entire asylum, trying to find anything out of place. And eventually, I found it.
Room 66.
I stood in front of that door for what felt like an eternity. A part of me wanted to know what was in there so badly, but another part of me just didn't want to see it. I was terrified, but I felt like I didn't have a choice. It didn't even feel like I was in control of my own body as I pushed that door open.
Because you wanted to find out what happened. Because clearly when they took her back there, she didn't come back, so she's either dead or they ate her, which would still mean she died, so I don't know why I said it like that, but either way, she's probably dead. I don't think they let her go. Would you think they would let her go? I don't. They targeted her. Are those bodies? What is that? Oh.
Help me!
Okay. No, we're gonna go back. 'Cause, right, we're supposed to take this at face value that this is a small little asylum. Yet he walks into room 66 and it opens up to this giant ass Dark Souls boss room with this boss here. No, there's more going on. These victims, I feel like, are being fed to him. The goggles are clearly hiding things. The red tint, we noticed. He's talked about it. There's more to this than they're letting on, because
Looks like someone wandered somewhere they aren't supposed to be.
In that moment, cornered and alone, I finally understood what they were so afraid of. I was finally seeing what they were seeing. For the first time...
So was Dr. Lackman summoning demons?
First time...
For
the first time, I saw his face.
Is this supposed to be Dr. Lackman? Because that's actually a really cool design. You see the teeth, the eyes, the burnt off nose. Something, the control structure in turns 13 what? Hold on, there's things going on here. I like this. See, this is different. Indicated on something indicated on the scalp. A mark is made 3 meters. Like. So clearly, this is an operate. What is happening? There's directions for the scalp, but there's not enough here to actually tell what's happening. A mark is made 3 meters on your scalp. Well, where on your scalp? There isn't much telling me here. So this is clearly procedures that they're doing, I'm assuming. But this is dope. Like, I already like this as a series. Because it went from some tiny little room to 66 that shouldn't exist to this giant ass area.
After that, I didn't know what to do. I panicked. I couldn't move. And he just stood there for a moment, staring at me. But then he let me go.
Of course
he
he
just
did.
told me to go back to work and act like it didn't happen. Work continued after that. I was too scared to find out what would happen if I didn't come back to the asylum, so I just continued my work there as normal. I was never punished. Nobody ever found out. It was like the whole thing never happened.
Interesting.
Until recently.
Oh.
The reason I'm recording this tape tonight is because I fear soon you may never hear from me again. For a while, Lankman acted like that night never happened, but ever since the recent incident, things have changed. He and the caretakers have become more aggressive. I've started seeing things. Cars passing me by with tinted windows, people following me off the corner of my eye, staff treating me like I don't even exist. Recently, it feels like they don't want me talking anymore. Someone I know and care about has been hurt, and they've given me a job that doesn't even fit my credentials. They've made me research somebody very dangerous, and I have my suspicions that once I've told them everything they need to know, they won't need me anymore.
Yeah,
that's why I'm recording this tape. I've learned things about this person, things that Lankman doesn't even know, things that could help me. After I'm done recording this tape, I'm going to be meeting with that person, and depending on how that goes, you may never hear from me again. If you're watching this, I've left you something. Something important. The last thing my friend was able to provide me with before they got to him. An archive. An archive of all the Foundation's most important tapes. It contains everything. Every lie they've told, every secret they've kept, every recording I've made. If I don't come back from this, you need to spread that information. The people need to know. I don't want to go about this alone, but as things are, I've had no choice. It just feels good to finally get this off my chest.
What? What was the point of him doing that? I'm assuming it's supposed to be like he's been infected, or he could be getting controlled, but that was just a weird motion. Okay, foundational mark. Is there more? Nope, it's just the credits. Okay, so let's check the description to see if there's anything else. Nope. No, there isn't. Okay. Oh wait, hold on. The thought that of you might... Wait, what? After watching the collection of tapes, you knew what you had to do. Late that night, you left your home, hitching a ride with a taxi and making your way towards the police. You saw that in the tapes you didn't know what to expect when you arrived there. For all you knew, it may not even be there anymore. The thought of what you... English is good. A thought of what you might see there terrified you, but filled with a new purpose, you marched towards it regardless. Your driver dropped you off far from your destination, not wanting anything to do with where you told him you were going, and so you walked for hours. You walked up alone, a pathway of dirt and gravel, passing through a part of a country that felt like a ghost town. It had been so long since you stepped foot here, yet everything felt so familiar. The moon loomed high overhead. Yet you finally arrived at your destination, the Lockman's asylum. The place was now boarded up and abandoned, a husk of its former self. You stood in front of the entrance to it for what felt like an eternity. You knew what you had to do, but you didn't have the strength to do it. Eventually, the dread became too much to bear, so you turned away and ready to walk all the way back, but then you heard something, a bellowing, calling to you from deeper within the forest. You recognized the creature's call. It moved beyond the asylum, as you ventured into the forest to meet someone you never thought you'd see again. So I don't think they killed his friend, right? Let's sum this up, because I don't think they killed his friend. I think that they're clearly that thing they have is a demon, right? Clearly Dr. Lockman isn't a human anymore, so I feel like he made a deal with the devil, and that's what that thing was. And the people he's giving to it, I don't think are being sacrificed. I think their souls are being consumed, and then they're being controlled. That's the only thing I can think of, because the government agents were way too, or these agents working with the Lockman asylum seemed kind of way too used to it, and the fact that they said it's not worth it. But then he refused to push the topic, okay? And then there's also, like, the Vartigan's disease, which wasn't really... It kind of was just like, oh, you'll see things that aren't real. But I feel like that's them being marked. I feel like they're being marked for consumption, or they're marked for death, is what I'm going to say. Because it seemed like that's what it was. And then the goggles didn't really make sense to me, because it's like, why... The interpretation of everything needed to be red to not see the normal reds seemed weird, because he couldn't see the 666 red doors. So far, it's an interesting concept. There's a lot of weird loose ends, and more questions than answers, and I feel like that's a better thing. So if you want to see more of this, you made it this far. Once again, thank you, I appreciate it. That's pretty much it. Thank you, have a good day, have a good night, good afternoon, good whatever. Hope to see you in the next one.